Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. All right, well, this has just been exciting day after day as the Republican primary process just firms everything up for Trump even more and more. Each hour of every day, something breaks in Trump's favor. There's an article. You actually sent me this article over the weekend, Kathy. It's from The Hill, and it's an article about Donna Brazile. And the headline, this is in The Hill, Donna Brazile. Remember, Donna Brazile, she was in 2000 Al Gore's presidential campaign manager against George W. Bush. She's the one who gave Hillary Clinton the questions for the CNN debate prior to the debate, so she had time to rehearse the questions that were going to be asked of her in that debate against Trump. It's crazy. So Donna Brazile's Democrat Party credentials are strong, and she's one of those super delegates at the convention that the Democrats have too. So she is one of the most prominent Democrats, kind of behind the scenes kind of Democrat power brokers that you could possibly be. And the headline in this Hill story, Donna Brazile, reality is Trump is the leader of a mass movement that continues to grow. Listen to this. Former Democratic Party Chair Donna Brazile predicted Sunday an easy path for President Trump to the GOP presidential nomination, adding, well, that's a given. That's, he's already got that. Adding that the enthusiasm gap is huge between Trump and his rivals. Trump is coming off this strong Iowa caucus victory, planning on repeating the success in New Hampshire. And then Donna Brazile says, when you win 98 of 99 counties in Iowa, and here's the thing about that. Nikki Haley won one county in Iowa, and her campaign was running this racket that gave her one county so she could have something to grab onto. In Iowa, you can actually change your party affiliation at the caucus site. So in that one county, people were showing up to the Iowa caucus, the Republican caucus, and changing their voter registration to Republican right there on the site. In fact, so many people did it, they ran out of the forms. So President Trump really won 99 counties. He won every county, really, if it wasn't for that thing they did. But anyway, when you win 98 of 99 counties in Iowa, that tells me you have momentum, Brazile said on ABC's This Week. His voters are going to stick with him no matter how many convictions, no matter how many court appearances. Donald Trump is the leader of a mass movement that continues to grow in this country. This is Donna Brazile talking. Now we all have to come to the reality. This is a movement. This is not a candidate who's basically the standard bearer for the Republican Party. He's leading a movement. Now, this is an interesting thing because I know a lot of people will say, well, yeah, we know this. Yeah, well, the Democrats and the establishment didn't know it. And now it is finally 8 years later, right? It's like 8 years after Trump came down the escalator, it's finally dawned on them what this is. They're finally starting to get it. This is a mass movement, and the movement that President Trump is leading, the MAGA movement, is the biggest movement this country has ever had. I'm not saying that there haven't been other mass movements like the civil rights movement led by Martin Luther King was a movement, and it was a big movement, but not as big as the MAGA movement because blacks were made up most of the civil rights movement, and it was mainly in the South where the Democrat segregation was going on. And although there were people who were not black in the movement, it wasn't that racially diverse. There were a handful of people that were white that were in that group. The MAGA movement is larger in number and diversity than any other movement, and geographically, it's a movement that is throughout the entire country. It goes over every ethnicity, every religion. If you've ever been to a Trump rally, you see the diversity there. I told you this, Kathy. I went to a Trump rally when Trump was president. A few days before Thanksgiving. I can't remember what year this was, but it was right before Thanksgiving. And I couldn't believe how many non-white people were there. And what I mean by that is I've been going to Republican events for years. And prior to Trump, Republican events were almost all white. There would be if there was a non-white person there, they typically were the invited speaker who were talking about how they escaped the Democrat plantation. And I went to this Trump rally, and it was the most ethnically diverse event that I had ever been to in my life. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And that's a good thing. And it shows you how big this movement is. And Donna Brazile, because a lot of people may not think too much of Donna Brazile. I mean, I don't think much of her either, but you know what I mean. But Donna Brazile is at a senior position in the Democrat Party. Senior position. She used to run the party, but she's one of the top people in the Democrat Party. And when Donna Brazile is openly, this was on that George Stephanopoulos show, right? He's a Clintonista. He worked for the Clintons, remember? When she's on ABC, Donna Brazile openly saying on national television, this isn't just some guy that hosts The Apprentice. This is a large mass movement in this country. That's a big realization that they're finally starting to get it. That doesn't mean they're going to let Trump alone or anything, but they're starting to understand what's going on. And I think that's why you're seeing, Kathy, you're starting to see like CNN's predicting his victory, MSNBC's predicting his victory. I'm talking about in the general election. I'm not talking about the convention. I'm talking about in the general election. And I think that among the powers that be, not that they're going to leave Trump alone, but among the powers that be, they're telling themselves, okay, he's going to win. When he leaves office, he's going to be 80-something years old. So they've almost given up, is what I'm telling you, to a certain degree. This comment with Don, they're almost giving up opposing him, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, it's like a mild concession.
It is. It is. It absolutely is, and it's an amazing thing. But the movement's going to continue to grow, and I'm really looking forward to who we're going to get as his VP pick. Because he said President Trump was talking over the weekend with DeSantis dropping out. He said it's not going to be DeSantis. It's not going to be Nikki Haley. In fact, President Trump said yesterday, he said good things about Ron DeSantis and his wife. He said he is retiring to sanctimonious. He won't be saying that. And I'm assuming that means we're retiring Walmart Melania too. Unless DeSantis misbehaves during the rest of the campaign, then we can bring these things back. But he said he's going to be naming his vice president at some point. There's no rush, but the way he talked, it's someone that everybody knows, and it's not going to be a surprise. A lot of people are talking today that it's going to be Lee Zeldin out of New York.
That'd be good.
And I think that's a good guess.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I think that's a good guess because Trump said New York's in play. He's going to go after New York, and Lee Zeldin ran for governor, and he didn't do that bad. You know, when he ran for, obviously didn't win, but he didn't do that bad. And so I think that's a definite. I'm not saying it's him. I have no idea who it's going to be. But I think that's a good guess that people are making, that it'll be Lee Zeldin, and that would be a good pick. But this is a really super exciting time.
Did you see where the judge in the E. Jean Carroll trial delayed today's trial until tomorrow, which is
on election day?
Which is on election day.
Exactly. Are you kidding me?
So does Trump have to show up tomorrow, or what does that mean?
I don't think he has to show up in this trial at all, although he was going to testify. So
can you count that as election interference?
You could count it as all kinds of – all these trials, first off, none of them should be happening, but they should certainly be suspended during all these primaries.
Well, I never heard of such a thing. It's a coincidence that he's postponing today's till tomorrow.
They're saying someone had COVID or was exposed to COVID or had a runny nose. I don't know. People like to blame COVID for everything.
Yeah, they do.
You know, it's a big out for people, you know, for all kinds of things. It's pretty outrageous. But you know what? These court cases ended up being a good thing because they've woken up a lot of people, because a lot of people in this country didn't really buy all this establishment conspiracy against President Trump, and they went overboard with these. If they would have stuck to, say, one case, like, I'm not saying none of them are valid cases, but if they would have stuck to just one, like the documents case, just as an example, right, which is an absurd case, they would have had more credibility. But going after him 4, 5, 6 times, it's too much. And people are like, are you kidding me? Come on.
I'm really curious how Nikki Haley's going to do tomorrow. She just got an endorsement from a local newspaper in New Hampshire. They called her a fireball from the heavens.
A real newspaper?
To knock out Trump and Biden. First of all,
How do they figure that?
Most of the people voting for her are not even going to vote for her in the main election. They're all Democrats or independents. They're gonna vote for Biden.
See, and
so that's what people need to understand.
In New Hampshire, okay, it's a little this New Hampshire primary is a little confusing. And I did go to the Secretary of State of New Hampshire's website. Apparently, independent voters, non-affiliated voters, can vote in the Republican primary tomorrow.
New Hampshire, yes.
So,
but there's no guarantee they would vote for her.
Of course they would.
In the main election. They're just voting for her now to keep Trump out.
Well,
that doesn't mean she's going to maintain that. She you know what I mean? She's not going to maintain their loyalty through the main election.
There's this thing that Rush Limbaugh used to do called Operation Chaos. Any of you guys remember Operation Chaos? And he would talk to people about in states that have crossover primaries, telling Republicans to vote for certain Democrats or, a change. Steve Kane once changed his voter registration to Democrat so he could vote in a Democrat primary so he could vote for Janet Reno in the Democrat primary because he thought Jeb Bush was running for re-election as governor of Florida.
Yeah.
And as much of a jerk as Jeb Bush is now, he was a good governor of Florida. He was governor for 8 years, and he broke the teachers union in Florida. And in fact, the teachers union mortgaged their office building here in Florida so that they could donate money to the Democrat running against Jeb Bush. I mean, they went broke and they lost. But Steve Kane changed party registration from Republican to Democrat so he could vote for Janet Reno in the Democrat primary because, we thought Jeb would have a better chance. I didn't do that. Steve did have a better chance beating Janet Reno than the guy that he ended up beating anyway. So that kind of thing happens all the time. But Nikki Haley, I saw an interview with her today. She was on Fox. I saw this online a little while ago. She was interviewed by Dana Perino, and who's the guy that co-hosts the show with Dana Perino?
Bill Hemmer.
Bill Hemmer. Neither of them asked her about the sex scandal she's involved in, okay? Neither of them. They were both interviewing her, taking turns. Neither of them asked about the sex scandals of Nikki Haley's. No. And, of course, Nikki Haley's being backed by the Bushes. Dana Perino's backed by the Bushes. Yeah. So it's inappropriate for her to be interviewing Nikki Haley and acting like it's like fair journalism. But I'm listening to Nikki Haley. She's insane.
Yeah.
She's crazy.
Well, now she's like Biden.
She's not in touch with reality at all.
She did an interview. I'm going to play a clip. She's making things up now.
What is she making up? That she's not involved in two sex scandals? What is she not?
Only Indian family in our small southern town. I was teased every day for being brown. So anyone that wants to question it can go back and look at what I've said on how hard it was to grow up in the deep South as a brown girl. Anybody can look at my record and see when Walter Scott was shot down by a dirty cop, how I made sure that the Walter Scott family didn't suffer because we put the first body camera bill in the country in place. Anybody can look at the fact that when we had 9 amazing souls die in Mother Emanuel Church, I did something that no Republican or Democrat ever wanted to touch, which was call for the Confederate flag to come down because it would take 2/3 of the House and Senate and was an impossible feat. I don't know what you're implying with that, but what I will tell you is saying that I had black friends is a source of pride. Saying that I had white friends is a source of pride. If you want to know what it was like growing up, I was disqualified from a beauty pageant because I wasn't white or black.
Really?
Because they didn't know where to put me.
Because she wasn't white or black, they have segregated. She's our age, by the way. In fact, she's our age. They had segregated beauty pageants when she was growing up in the 80s.
Because she wasn't
in the 70s.
In the category of white or black.
There's no such categories.
Well, like Emily's biracial or Hispanic is considered another category. So she's saying she was disqualified from a beauty pageant. First of all, I don't think that's why she was disqualified from a beauty pageant. Maybe just because she wasn't very pretty. And that's what they told her.
Maybe her parents didn't want to be bothered and they told her she couldn't be. Hold on a second. Is she? Well, let me get this straight.
Goodness gracious.
Let me get this straight. Is Nikki Haley saying? Nikki Haley's our age, so she's
making things up now.
She grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Okay. So Nikki Haley is telling us that in South Carolina in the 1970s and 1980s,
I would say the 80s,
that beauty pageants were racially segregated for little girls. Like
so.
like white girls had to be in white pageants, black girls had to be in
She's
black
saying
pageants,
that they
and there
didn't
was
have
no-
a category for her so that she couldn't participate.
There's no racial categories in the beauty pageants.
I know.
She's hallucinating. I think if that story
She was disqualified from a beauty pageant because she wasn't white or black, is what she says.
This would be my guess. If that story has any shred of truth into it, okay, which I doubt, but this would be my guess, okay? Her mother and father didn't want to be bothered with the beauty pageants. That's
and maybe that's what they told her.
And that's an expensive thing, and it's a hassle, too, okay? Parents that are into that, it's like a lifestyle.
Or maybe they were afraid she wouldn't even place, and they didn't want her to go through the pain of...
Well, everybody thinks their kid's beautiful.
Not everybody.
Yeah. But, well, you know, I don't know. That story's so
I
BS.
think my daughter, I'm not saying me. Of course, my daughter is the most beautiful girl in the world, but...
You mean our daughter?
Yeah, our daughter, right?
Our daughter. You don't have another child. I don't know about
no,
Kathy.
Our daughter is beautiful. She really is. But maybe Nikki Haley's parents didn't see that and thought...
Or they didn't want to be bothered. You know, Nikki Haley...
So now she can't get into beauty pageants because she wasn't black or white.
She's done two things. Like this interview...
She is really playing the race card
This interview I saw with her today with Dana Perino, okay, on Fox. I saw in her face the same kind of look I see in Governor Whitmer's face or Governor Newsom in California. Just complete psychotic look in the eyes. Just no sense of reality. And then this thing she did on Saturday night with Governor Sununu after she's got these two sex scandals, and these guys, I don't know why these guys came forward in 2010 and gave sworn sign affidavits.
I don't either.
That they had affairs with Nikki Haley. I don't know why they did that. I know that seems strange, but the Daily Mail has multiple witnesses, and the affidavits quoted multiple witnesses by name that backed up the reporting and everything else. But Nikki Haley, after she's got two sex scandals that just come out on Friday, Saturday she's driving around alone in Governor Sununu's 1960-something Mustang.
I said to you, I don't know if Sununu's married. I'm assuming he is.
His wife's name's Valerie.
I said to you, if you were driving around a car with Nikki Haley alone, considering everything that's come out, I would have a serious problem with that. I wouldn't assume you were sleeping with her, but I would be like, it's humiliating to the wife for him to be driving around alone in some 1960 Mustang, like they're going to the drive-in together. How does that make his wife look when all these guys are coming forward that she sleeps around with married men
and has sex with them?
I mean, I would have a serious problem with you doing that. I wouldn't assume you were with her, but I'd be a little concerned. But just the optics of that make his wife look like an idiot.
The thing with
I'm sorry, it's disrespectful to his wife.
This thing with Nikki Haley.
Have you ever seen that with a politician?
No.
Have you ever seen a politician, like two politicians of the opposite sex, driving together alone in like a muscle car
of the opposite sex?
No.
And one of them is involved in two sex scandals. One of them with a married man who got divorced over it.
Forget the sex scandals. Have you ever even seen that ever?
No, it's inappropriate.
Yeah, and there's something happening there.
I'm not saying this is true because I don't know, and I'm not making any allegations here. But because of the stories of these men that she had affairs with, one of them was married. Her and Governor Sununu together, they look like a couple. Every time I see them on an interview, every time I see him even doing an interview without her talking about her, they seem like a couple to me.
I said this to you weeks ago and you thought I was crazy. I said, there's something going on with these two. I don't know. It's alleged. I'm just guessing.
There's no allegations. It just looks...
It's just weird. His support of her, it just seems a little too personal.
Yeah.
There's nobody else driving around and campaigning with her.
I agree.
Let's see what happens after New Hampshire. Isn't he's the governor of New Hampshire, right?
Yes.
All right, well, let's see if he sticks around after New Hampshire, especially since she's going to lose. Is he going to keep driving around town in his car? I'd have a serious problem with that if I was married to that guy.
And him just,
that would have to stop.
And it's very bizarre that...
It's very strange.
Now, what's going on here in this country right now is so strange, okay? We've got both Nikki Haley and Fannie Willis both involved in sex scandals. And this is really a new thing. Sex scandals with politicians isn't new, but sex scandals with female politicians is, okay? And if you look at both of these,
Yeah, it's true.
If you look at both of these sex scandals, Fani Willis and Nikki Haley, both of them are when you have women in a traditional man's role. Nikki Haley, the first guy she had sex with was a subordinate of hers on her campaign. And the second guy that she's allegedly had sex with, the second guy she allegedly had sex with is a lobbyist. And so she's, he's her subordinate in that role. Fani Willis, the guy she had an affair with, a married man too, just like the allegation with Nikki Haley, he's a subordinate who works for her too.
Here's the problem.
So you have these women in the role of a man with authority over men, and look how they're behaving.
Well, I don't even, here's the problem. I know you've had listeners call up and say, who cares? And you're right. I don't care if they're having affairs. It's not my business. But here's the problem. It's who they're having affairs with and the favors that are being given out due to these affairs. Like Fani Willis made this guy like part of the case.
And gave him $654,000.
Her lover. I mean, there's corruption
$654,000.
Yeah, they went on vacations together. Now, the problem they have is this guy's wife is going to make it a problem. And good for her. Nikki Haley is sleeping with lobbyists. That's a problem. That's why would she do that?
And she took $8 million from others too.
And is there anybody else that she's sleeping with for political favors?
I don't know.
Or anything like that. Did you see remember I talked about the movie we saw with Cher and Dennis Quaid, and the lady politician slept with Dennis Quaid. He was a lobbyist because he wanted her to vote a certain way, and he was handsome and she wasn't, so he went to bed with her.
Nikki Haley's lobbyist wasn't handsome. Did you see the picture?
Well, neither is she. So all things are equal. But when there's a politician and a lobbyist having sex together, you got to wonder, well, what's going on here other than sex? I mean, there's something else happening. There's some favor. It's almost like a transaction. Something is going on. This is not just about them wanting to get it on. I mean, you know what I mean? That would be a problem. Yeah. So when you have somebody who is sleeping with other people politically connected, I think that's a problem. That I don't like people that are that way anyway, that cheat on their spouses. I think it's horrible. But it happens, and it's her problem, not mine. I understand that. But it says a lot about, I don't understand, especially women that defend it. It says a lot about her character as a person, that her husband is off fighting or he's off deployed and she's screwing around and having sex in cars like she's 15 years old.
Okay, now both of these.
You know what I mean? And let me finish. The reason they're having sex in cars as adults is because they don't want a record of being in a hotel together. Yeah. Okay, that's like ultra sneaky. Mm-hmm. All right? They don't want to have any record of them in a hotel or anything like that. So they figure if they're in a car, only the two of them are going to know about it as long as they keep it quiet. You understand what I'm saying? Well, see, and in Fani Willis's case, it is there's been, to my knowledge, there's been no denial that they had a relationship and still do. She gave him $654,000 of government money, right? Taxpayer money, right? That's criminal. What Fani Willis did, there's the possibility of like a crime taking place, okay? Right. One thing I haven't heard anyone get into with Nikki Haley, in particular with this lobbyist, what kind of lobbyist was he? Right. Because she was in state government at the time, okay? She was in this. I'd like to know more about him. So I'd like to know what kind of lobbyist he was. Yes. What are the things he was lobbying for? And when the things he was lobbying for came up for votes, did Nikki Haley vote on those things? And if she did she vote in favor of the lobbyist that she had sex with? You understand? Was there sex for favors here? I don't know. Nobody's gotten into that aspect of it. And when the first story came out about 2 weeks ago of Nikki Haley with the one guy, I told you guys then, I said, this is not an isolated incident. This is not, especially for a woman, okay? Mm-hmm. This is not the type of thing that someone in her position does just once. This is a behavior. We got a second guy. Yeah, and maybe a third happening right now. I'm surprised we haven't heard from more men yet. I'm sure they're looking for them. If Nikki Haley, this would be my guess, okay? Now, President Trump has like 60% right now in New Hampshire. He's going to cream her in New Hampshire.
So after New Hampshire, Nikki Haley's got a decision to make. There's Nevada and South Carolina. Mm-hmm. And
she'll stick in it through South Carolina.
She's either going to stick it out through South Carolina or drop out before South Carolina. If she does not drop out after being destroyed in New Hampshire by President Trump, you very well may be seeing other stories. I personally believe that this is just me. I have not confirmed this because I don't ask people questions. The story of Nikki Haley's first affair came out through Laura Loomer. I believe Laura Loomer got the information from the Trump campaign. I've not asked Loomer about it because she, even if she confirmed it, it would be off the record. I wouldn't be able to share it with you guys, and I don't want to ask her a question where she has to start lying to me. I think she got it from the Trump campaign. And then I think that story went out there, and then the Daily Mail started looking into it. A lot of people, I got a couple calls about this today on the morning show on the radio, and some of the people are saying, well, these are stories that came out in 2010. Everybody knew about this. No, I never heard these stories before. Maybe you did. I didn't. You remember these stories, Kathy? I don't remember these stories. So these are stories that did come out in 2010 in South Carolina, not nationally. She's a national figure now. So if she does not drop out like DeSantis did after New Hampshire, I think we very well may start hearing more about Nikki Haley.
Okay, so I'm confused about this Fonnie Wills thing. Ryan Fournier is saying Nathan Wade's divorce records are going to be unsealed now. So is that guy...
Has the judge decided to unseal
Yeah, he just reported it. Nathan Wade's divorce records will be unsealed. Okay, so what I'm assuming is he's divorced now, but he was...
No, the divorce is going on. It's not over yet. It's an ongoing. He's
still married to this woman.
They're
saying their records are going to be unsealed.
They're in the middle of a divorce, and it looks like the $654,000 that Nathan, by the way, is Fannie Willis's boy toy, that he managed to keep this money from his wife. So a lot of this has to do. She's a woman who's upset that her husband was cheating on her, but also he cut her out of the money. She went, you know what I mean? So, and she's got all the bank records.
So we got an update now from Benny Johnson. He's Bill Hemmer's interviewing people outside of a New Hampshire thing. It says here, reporter predicts Trump will be the GOP nominee after spending seconds outside New Hampshire Trump rally in the frigid. Let's play what Bill Hemmer got.
Pull off something miraculous on Tuesday night, John. You really start to get the sense right now that we have entered the general election phase for 2024. The headline of the day, Ron DeSantis is out. Why don't we go ahead and do a quick sample of those who are waiting and hoping to get in as to how they feel about the news. Why don't I reach in here for... You're from Massachusetts, right?
No, from Maine.
Oh, for state of Maine. Gotcha.
Yes.
What do you think about Ron DeSantis' decision today?
I think it was the right thing to do. There's only one person that we need.
Got it. And you?
I'm really happy. I think it shows who's out in front, and that's what we're going with the lead horse.
All right, let's work on down the line here, John, quickly in the time that we have. Where's the gentleman here? So we were talking a bit earlier.
Hemmer's trying to find one non-Trump person.
The headline of the night is that Ron DeSantis has folded his campaign and has endorsed Donald Trump. Yeah. What do you think that does for this election?
Every DeSantis voter is going to vote for Trump now. And he was a shoo-in anyway. But DeSantis, I'd love to see him as vice president, and I'd love to see him do 8 years after Trump serves.
Yeah.
How long you been in line?
Couple hours.
In the snow.
Yeah.
Balmy, huh?
It's beautiful.
So I don't agree with him.
That was last night.
That was last night. Yeah. I don't agree with him on DeSantis, that's for sure. And that's not going to happen. But
we'll see what happens,
They
Kathy.
interviewed all these people last night outside waiting to see Trump.
Yeah.
And do you think, this was what I was going to ask you, do you think all the people that were going to vote for DeSantis are going to go to Trump? I do. Yeah. I don't think they're going to vote for Nikki Haley.
Because people, this is the thing, okay? People don't like to waste their vote. So they don't want to waste their vote on a loser. And Nikki Haley's a loser. There's no path for her to win anything.
There's such a huge gap. Now, in Iowa, Trump got like 53%, and then DeSantis and Nikki Haley both got like 17, 18 each. So I'm really curious what's going to happen. She's got the endorsement of her friend, the governor of New Hampshire. And now that DeSantis is out, I'm really curious. The Vivek people are going to go to Trump. So that would have been 7% in Iowa. He got 7% because he endorsed Trump and they're going to go for Trump. So I'm really curious what's going to happen now. She might get a little bit of a bump.
No bump.
Do you agree with this guy that all the DeSantis people are going to go with Trump?
Yeah. See, this is one of the fantasies the Republican establishment had, right? There used to be a whole bunch of people running against Trump in the primary.
Yes.
And they thought that there were two types of Republicans, Trump Republicans and Trump haters. And they thought they knew that people would start dropping out in some order. And they assumed that every time someone dropped out that was like a Chris Christie or something, that those supporters would go to whoever was left and that they would come into these primaries and it would be a close neck-and-neck race between the Trump and anti-Trump Republicans. And there really aren't any anti-Trump Republicans. The only anti-Trump Republicans are the Republican establishment like in Washington.
Yeah, Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan.
That's right.
Those guys.
They're out of touch with the party. Totally out of touch with the party.
Well, in Iowa, most of the people that voted for Nikki Haley were Democrats.
That's right.
So
now, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there is a lot more to talk about. News is breaking every single second these days. I've never seen news in a presidential campaign break as fast as it's been breaking now. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We're going to take a quick break and be back right after this.
Are you looking for that perfect podcast to listen to on your way to or home from work? Then add the Backstage with Anya and Oscar to your podcast playlist. Anya and Oscar drop a new episode every Thursday. They take questions from listeners, discuss life's quirky problems. They also talk about the latest celebrity news from around the world. Now entering their second season, Backstage with Anya and Oscar bring you closer to the stars with candid interviews with celebrities and industry experts, revealing the human side of the glitz and glamour behind those famous names. Backstage with Anya and Oscar is fun, fresh, and waiting for you. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you get your podcast. The Backstage with Anya and Oscar, where the real stories unfold. Start listening right now. Are you a teenager who wants to unlock their full potential? You can. You just need the right help and guidance. And that's what you will find in the book from author Charles E. Tyler, 10 Mindsets to Embrace for Teenage Success, Happiness, and a Determined Path in Life. Available on Amazon. This must-read and life-changing book is your guide to rocking the teenage years with confidence and clarity. It's filled with real-life, no-nonsense advice. You'll discover how to navigate the twists and turns of adolescence. Have you ever wondered how successful people make it look so easy? 10 Mindsets to Embrace reveals their secrets. You'll also find interactive exercises that can boost your emotional intelligence, find your zen, and supercharge your self-awareness and discover the real you. Author Charles E. Tyler's 10 Mindsets to Embrace is a conversation, a guide, and your personal coach. It's perfect for teens who are ready to challenge the norms, make their mark, and become their best selves. And it makes a great gift for parents, teachers, and school counselors to share with their students. 10 Mindsets to Embrace for Teenage Success, Happiness, and a Determined Path in Life is available on Amazon. Order your copy right now and take that first step to the success and happiness that you've dreamed of. Are you dealing with heartbreak and grief? You're not alone. You can live the life you've dreamed of, the life you deserve. You just need the right help and guidance. And that's what you will find in the book from author Bodie J. Lee. Our Human Hearts book series, Heartbreak, Healing, and Self-Care, a journey through grief. This must-read and life-changing book is your comprehensive roadmap for healing. It draws on psychological insights and gives practical, actionable strategies. You'll understand the intense emotions of heartbreak and embark on a journey through the stages of healing. You'll discover the importance of self-compassion and discover a range of effective strategies to nurture your well-being. From mindfulness exercises to new hobbies, this guide is filled with information that will aid you in your recovery. Explore the transformative power of heartbreak as the author guides you through self-reflection and growth, encouraging you to redefine your personal identity and your goals. Order your copy right now. Our Human Hearts book series, Heartbreak, Healing, and Self-Care, a journey through grief, from author Bodie J. Lee. Available on Amazon and at OurHumanHearts.com. This also is a great gift for the person in your life who's dealing with heartbreak and grief. Our Human Hearts book series, Heartbreak, Healing, and Self-Care, A Journey Through Grief, from author Bodie J. Lee, on Amazon and OurHumanHearts.com. The new sci-fi novel from author Tony Travis is now available on Amazon. Keyholes. Keyholes is a journey of discovery. Meet Dr. Alan Messman and his brother Colonel Bryce Messman as they uncover a groundbreaking revelation, a mysterious portal influenced by quantum effects on photons. Join their team on a quest to unravel the secrets hidden behind the keyhole. What lies beyond? A passage to the past, an alternate world, or something beyond our wildest imaginations? Find out when you read Keyholes from author Tony Travis. Follow their journey as it challenges the very nature of reality, intertwining cosmic mysteries with a deep exploration of identity and existence. Every page is a gateway to another layer of mystery, leading to a climax that will leave you questioning the very fabric of our universe. Order your copy of Keyholes from author Tony Travis on Amazon. Available in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Keyholes from author Tony Travis on Amazon.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. You know, one of the reasons Trump is doing so well is because the Democrats have always had wackadoodle liberal ideas, okay? That's true. But everything the Democrats do is just like this, okay? This happened in California, now it's happening in New York. Governor Hochul in New York, listen to this. New York moves to provide free health care to illegal immigrants. Now, first of all, illegal immigrants should, what's happening is, as an illegal immigrant, like anyone else who is poor or has no insurance, you can go to any emergency room and get treatment in this country, okay? And if you have no money, you're not going to be able to pay, and they can't make you pay if you have no money. But here's the thing about this story, okay? And I talk about this a lot. I am uninsured. I'm uninsured. Now, the reason I'm uninsured, we could buy health insurance for me, but because of my age, I'm 52. Okay? Insurance at my age, with the way that Barack Obama years ago wrecked the insurance industry, is, of course, because of my age, you got a high premium, but the deductible would be so high, we'd have to spend thousands of dollars both in monthly premium and a deductible before I got one penny of health insurance coverage. And it's just ridiculously expensive. That's no longer insurance. That's one of the problems we're having with homeowners insurance in Florida. And people see stories like this, that people that aren't even supposed to be here are getting free health care. Mm-hmm. I'm not the only American that's uninsured. And there's a lot of people that go without. I've known people, and I know there are people listening to this that have known people that don't take the fully prescribed dose of their medications because their prescription medications are so expensive. This is a common thing. Remember, the first episode of Roseanne's new show was about that, if you remember correctly. And I've known people that do that. They'll skip a day on their prescriptions. Oh, well, I've got a therapeutic dose.
Cut it in half.
Cut it in half. Things like this. And the reason I bring this, everything that the Democrats are doing are for South Americans, not United States of Americans, okay? And people in this country are fed up with Biden and Hochul and Newsom bending over backwards, doing things for non-American people.
I think Trump should
Ukraine,
change
all these things.
When he says America first, I think he should say Americans first.
Americans first.
And I just talked to you. This is so weird. Is Dinesh D'Souza listening to me? I just told you during the break, maybe we should interview Dinesh D'Souza and ask him if he was bullied. He just tweeted this.
Oh.
I came to America from Bombay, India at 17. Have spent the past 4 decades in the most conservative precincts of American life. I've never once been teased for being brown, and I'm browner than Nikki Haley. So what is going on here? And I think I could be wrong. I think black people are going to be really pissed at her for saying something like that.
She's pretty white.
You know, I think she's trying to align herself with people that deal with real racism, and there is some that still goes on.
She's trying to be a victim.
Obviously, you know, it's not as bad as it was, you know, when we were growing up, but it's certainly better. But there are still people that deal with it. That's true. And there's white people that deal with it too. So I'm not saying that. It's, you know, it happens once in a while. But she is aligning herself with this victim group of people. Like, she was so bullied. And
I'm a woman, I'm this, I'm that.
But then I've heard her turn around and say America's not a racist country. So she's all over the place. How can you say we're not a racist country and then say you were bullied for your race your whole life? You know what I'm saying? She's a liar. She's making shit up. I mean, she's contradicting herself. You can't say, I've heard her say, Brian, am I wrong? This is not a racist country.
Yes.
I've heard her say this many times.
Now she's saying it is.
And now she's saying that she was bullied for her race her whole life, which is a bunch of nonsense.
Well, you know, here's the thing. If you notice, we're not talking about DeSantis. DeSantis came out yesterday and endorsed Trump with the weakest endorsement I've ever heard someone give of a presidential candidate. It was so bizarre, the DeSantis endorsement of Trump. I mean, he's ticked
He had
off.
a lot of makeup on, and he was wearing eyeshadow.
Yeah, I wonder if he was wearing the high heels, too.
He was wearing eyeshadow.
He's like almost in drag, DeSantis.
Maybe he's transitioning.
Maybe. I you know.
I'm not
joking. But the way this works
he had a lot of makeup on.
The way this works is this. If you notice, since Vivek dropped out and endorsed Trump, I don't think I've talked about Vivek. I did a lot of coverage of Vivek before that. Now DeSantis, we're moving on. This is very important, okay? When these grifters and wannabes are all out of the race and it's just Trump versus Biden, which we may be just a day away from that officially, because Nikki Haley –
It'll be soon.
Nikki Haley could very well drop out on Wednesday morning. It depends on how big the victory is. There's a lot of things in play.
It depends on if the money dries up.
Yeah, that's a big thing too.
Depends on.
But you know, the thing about when these people drop out, when they drop out, it's time to leave them alone, not get distracted. We don't want to be trashing Republicans for no reason.
Right.
We want to expose the Democrats. And you know, the thing about
refocus your energy to where it matters.
Vivek is going to be joining a couple of other guys that dropped out of the race with Trump in New Hampshire, okay? And probably on the way to South Carolina. DeSantis isn't on the list that I saw. In fact, Trump said today that there's probably not a place in his cabinet for DeSantis.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a bridge burned, it looks like.
Yeah.
But once
I agree with you on that.
A lot of people keep asking me, well, you know, and I got this a lot today on the morning show today. I got a lot of blowback, not just from Steve, but from some callers. Why you got to leave Nikki alone? You know, this is she's 2 weeks ago they were telling me that about Ramaswamy. Last week they were telling me that the reason that we only have two people in the Republican primary now is because people like us have been exposing these other candidates for what they are.
Exactly.
And they've been exposed. You've got to expose these grifters and frauds. And once they're out of the race, you forget about them as long as they behave. If they come out and start trashing Trump again, then you talk about them. But there's no point in going after even Chris Christie. Now, Chris Christie may do an interview on CNN or something, and we may play a clip and talk about what a jerk he is, but we're not going to spend more than a few seconds.
Don't give them. And I feel, and that's how Trump is. It's like they're out. Boom. That's it. Out of sight, out of mind.
President Trump always
don't waste your time or energy. But Trump knows how to focus in on
who the number one opponent against him at that particular moment.
He hones in.
Who's ever the second place person.
Yeah, and once they're done, that's it. I mean, you know,
move on.
Yeah, then he'll be going after Biden,
and that's how you want it. And you know, I got quite a few calls. I had one guy that called me this morning on the show, and he said, "Oh, you're bringing up these old stories about Nikki Haley. These two guys." That he said that they were both proven false.
No.
So I said to him, "What is the proof? Tell me what the proof is. I will look it up and read it on the program right now." He hung up the phone.
Yeah.
And
no proof of that.
there are still people out there that are never Trumpers that are trying to get. And I'll tell you another thing that's pretty big. Okay. And I'm waiting for this to break. We don't have the names yet. On Friday, there was a story that had no names, but Ron DeSantis when he was about to announce officially that he was running for president, there was a story that he had a bunch of conservative influencers at the governor's mansion.
Yeah, I'd like to know who.
Yeah, we don't know who any of them were. I mean, I think we can guess. I mean, I'm sure one of them was Dave Rubin. Another one was that Bill Mitchell. I'm sure Bill Mitchell was another one. But
oh yeah,
but it was a large group, and I want to know who they are because there's a lot of fake MAGA out there. Okay, there's a lot of fake MAGA. And a lot of these people that are fake MAGA, that you don't know are fake MAGA, are going to try to do things to
speaking of that,
push you in different directions.
Look who was just tweeted.
Now, you just gave me
by
this.
Jason Miller.
You just gave me this Jason Miller tweet. It says, Ben Shapiro endorses Donald Trump, calls on GOP to coalesce.
Yep.
And, Ben Shapiro,
Yep.
He is...
that was just tweeted 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, and Ben Shapiro was a never Trumper in the first campaign. He was an open never Trumper. Then he pretended to like Trump. Now he's endorsed Trump again. He probably still hates Trump. Okay, he probably still hates Trump.
He's in self-preservation mode.
That's right.
He sees
what happened to Glenn Beck.
What happens with these other people who are not on the Trump train.
Look at Candace Owens.
But does it matter the motivation? If he goes out and endorses him, isn't that a good thing? Because you know what I mean?
It is a good thing.
I'm sure Trump would see that as a good thing.
It is a good thing. It is a good thing. Ben Shapiro hates Trump, but he endorsed him, okay? Now it's very possible that Ben Shapiro endorsed Trump probably for two reasons. Number one is what you just said, self-preservation, because he sees these other people that went against Trump that are now done. And there's one guy in particular that has really almost destroyed himself. Glenn Beck was a never Trumper in the first campaign. He's never recovered from it. Okay. Candace Owens came out against Trump early last year, said terrible things, and she's taken a severe hit. She's never recovered from it. So Ben Shapiro doesn't want to destroy his livelihood. So he's doing it out of self-preservation.
Well, and Mark Levin is attacking Nikki Haley too. He said she's a Democrat plant.
That's
which
true.
A lot of people have said about her.
And Nikki Haley,
a lot of money behind her is Democrat money.
Her top Democrat fundraiser of Nikki Haley is the guy that's funding E. Jean Carroll's case. Same person.
No, she's no Republican.
So
she's a rhino in the worst sense of the word.
So I'm not a big fan of Ben Shapiro. He annoys me for a lot of reasons, and I do believe he hates Trump. I don't trust, but he endorsed him, and like Ramaswamy, I would much rather have Ben Shapiro, who has a very large reach, tell people that listen to him to vote for Trump than trash Trump. So Ben Shapiro, anyone who wants to help us get Trump reelected, I'm very happy with that.
And I think people with Nikki Haley, I think the whole reason, she's got two reasons not to vote for Trump: his age, which to me is insignificant. It really depends on the person. And like Trump always says, and the fact that we don't want to see Biden and Trump a rematch, that it's too chaotic. That's not a reason to vote for somebody. You got to think, how is that going to affect you? How is that going to affect you at home? You need to vote for somebody who's going to make things better for you and for the country. And saying, well, I'm going to vote for Nikki Haley because there's too much drama around Trump and Biden. That's not a reason to vote for her.
Well, and Ben Shapiro.
What is she going to do for the country?
So Ben Shapiro, I'm very glad he endorsed Trump. Yeah. So there's two reasons why he do it. The one is self-preservation of his media empire. Okay,
absolutely.
But the second one is Ben Shapiro, like me, strong supporter of Israel, and he understands what Israel's up against, and he knows that Donald Trump is very strong and pro-Israel. So I think there's some of that in there too. But I welcome these never Trumpers like Ben Shapiro who come out and endorse Trump and advocate for Trump. This election is the most important election any of us alive have ever experienced. I know every election they say this is the most important. This election will decide the direction of this country. Are we going to remain the United States of America, or are we going to become an entirely different type of country that's the United States of America in name only? And anyone who is out there talking to people saying vote Trump is someone that we want to applaud for doing it. We're going to take our last break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
How would you like to make your home stand out above the rest? You can with the elegance of Moroccan craftsmanship at The Brass Designs on Etsy.com. The Brass Designs on Etsy is a distinguished cooperative bringing the beauty of handmade brass and copper crafts directly into your home. They specialize in kitchen and bathroom fixtures, indoor and outdoor shower systems, and unique accessories. The Brass Designs have over 14 years of experience in their local market with a team of over 20 skilled artisans, ensuring that each piece is meticulously handcrafted for lasting quality and beauty. From sleek kitchen faucets to exquisite copper and brass bathtubs, every product comes with a 10-year warranty. And as Etsy star sellers, they pride themselves on their exceptional product quality, customer service, and reliable shipping. They've built long-term partnerships with numerous U.S.-based interior designers, redefining home aesthetics with a blend of traditional artistry, premium quality, and unrivaled reliability. The range of items for the entire home include kitchen sink faucets, outdoor copper shower heads, stylish soap dispensers, decorative hanging pots, and so much more. Visit the shop right now on Etsy, etsy.com/shop/The Brass Designs. View their inventory. You will be impressed. Experience the blend of Moroccan tradition and modern design, elevating your home with The Brass Designs on Etsy, where art meets functionality. Etsy.com/shop/The Brass Designs. Planning a trip or vacation in the new year? Make sure your journey starts at Border to Border Travel. At Border to Border Travel, you'll discover the power of efficient packing with their compression packing cubes and underseat luggage. Border to Border Travel will have you traveling in style while optimizing space like you've never done before. Their compact cubes ingeniously compress your essentials, while their underseat luggage is designed for seamless, stress-free journeys. It's perfect for weekend getaways or business trips. With Border to Border Travel, you'll experience the convenience of organized, hassle-free travel. You get the perfect synergy of smart design and durability. Travel smarter, travel lighter, and travel with unmatched ease. Embrace your next adventure with Border to Border Travel, where innovation meets wanderlust. Online at bordertobordertravel.com. That's the number 2, bordertobordertravel.com. Your journey starts today. bordertobordertravel.com. Are you a business owner, a member of a management team, or want to take your career to leadership levels? Then you will want to add the new book from author Stefan Reckert to your must-read list, Management Meets Nietzsche, a leadership philosophy, available on Amazon. Management Meets Nietzsche is a journey through Nietzsche's philosophies, reimagined for today's disruptive leadership landscape. In 1884, Nietzsche challenged the value system, and today, this book explores what it takes to be a transformative leader in our modern world. When you read Management Meets Nietzsche, you'll discover how leadership requirements have evolved over 140 years. It blends scientific studies, personal anecdotes, and management literature. It also offers actionable insights for aspiring leaders just like you of any background. The author translates Nietzsche's teachings to modern management, challenging traditional concepts and introducing a fresh perspective on great leadership. Filled with a combination of old virtues, disruptive approaches, and a peek into the future of work, this book will prepare you to embrace innovation. It's also filled with entertaining and eye-opening examples from the author's career. This is a vital resource for anyone who wants to master disruptive thinking and leadership. It's engaging, philosophical, and practical, and perfect for business owners, managers, and anyone who aspires to lead. Management Meets Nietzsche, a leadership philosophy, from author Stefan Reckert, available on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Order your copy right now and embrace the journey of leadership like never before. Management Meets Nietzsche, a leadership philosophy, on Amazon. From author Patricia J. Marino comes a book that explores the American experience like never before. We Have All Been the Others, reflections of a first-generation's daughter on belonging, democracy, and a new American dream. Available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. Drawing from the wisdom of her Sicilian-American father, former Detective Alexander Francis Marino, the author offers universal lessons that resonate with our current American landscape. From confronting hypocrisy to the pursuit of fairness, each chapter chapter unfolds a timeless truth. This unique memoir through history examines the original promise of America through the lens of the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the United States Constitution. We Have All Been the Others invites readers to re-envision a new America. In the words of Langston Hughes, let America be America again. Chapters include Laws Don't Always Equal Right, Call Out Hypocrisy, and Strive to Learn Toughness Through Adversity. Author Patricia J. Marino weaves personal stories with historical insights, exploring the concept of the other and the collective immigrant experience. With this must-read book, you'll embrace our shared heritage, understand our past, and build a more inclusive future. This book is perfect for book clubs and is also a great addition for teachers' classroom reading collection. Order your copy of We Have All Been the Others, Reflections of a First Generation's Daughter on Belonging, Democracy, and a New American Dream. Available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Now, I've been telling you guys since last week that Fox News canceled Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Isn't that crazy? I mean, what is Fox News even without MyPillow? Not that I'm watching Fox, but when I used to, every commercial break had a MyPillow commercial on it. And of course, Mike Lindell's been a great supporter of this program and all of my content for years, and he's a good guy. And what MyPillow has gone through, canceled by Walmart. Walmart is the largest retailer, but that's where Mike Lindell in the retail space had more of its merchandise than anywhere else. In fact, at Walmart, they had the MyPillows at the checkout stand, which that's like the most sought after shelf space.
I watch QVC all the time, and
oh yeah,
he was on QVC all the time with David Venable, who's their big guy, and he would have sometimes they do like huge blocks, like they'll do a 24-hour block of a product, and they'll be like the today's special value, and he would be on for like 24 hours sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean he was very big there, so they canceled him too.
So he lost QVC, Walmart, all those other stores. Now Fox, and Mike Lindell has extended to those of you that listen to me on any of the platforms I'm on, the radio, the podcast, my YouTube channel, free shipping on all products at MyPillow.com.
That's amazing.
And with our promo code Kane at checkout, KANE, and remember that you also get the special. Like if you order something that there's a special on, you get that deal plus free shipping. For example, the MyPillow mattress topper 2.0 is 40% off with our promo code Kane, but now it's also free shipping, 40% off and free shipping. That goes on every item at MyPillow.com is free shipping, no matter how large or small, right? You order the pet bed, which is like less than $20, free shipping. And that's a discounted price too. You order the neck pillow, no matter what you order, free shipping with our promo code Kane. So support Mike Lindell. He and MyPillow need the support. And when you use our promo code Kane, Kane at checkout, you're also supporting us. And we thank you for that. Okay, so here's a bit of an article about Ben Shapiro's endorsement of President Trump. It's in Mediaite. I'll just read this. I've not read this yet. I'm reading this cold, okay? Prominent conservative commentator Ben Shapiro endorsed Donald Trump today, one day after Ron DeSantis dropped out of the Republican presidential primary. And they have a quote here of Ben Shapiro. Obviously, Governor DeSantis was my favorite candidate in the race. Now, Ben Shapiro is another one of these Ponce de Leon guys I tell you about, okay?
I didn't know he was supporting DeSantis.
Okay, a lot of these conservatives, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Dave Rubin, and others have moved to Florida. But they moved to Florida, and Florida is the best state in America, okay? Florida is paradise. And what happens with these people that live in other parts of the country, they move to Florida and they're like amazed at Florida and the freedoms of Florida, and they automatically credit Ron DeSantis with it. Florida's always been this great, okay? I mean, it's just an amazing state. And so, and I call it the Ponce de Leon syndrome. Ponce de Leon is credited with discovering Florida. So every time one of these guys move to Florida, whether it's Levin or Ben Shapiro, they they think they've discovered something, right? So, and it's Florida, and they credit Ron, and they fall in love with Ron DeSantis because they think Ron DeSantis made Florida what it is today. He didn't. But anyway, he endorsed Trump DeSantis, so I don't want to trash DeSantis. But this is what Ben Shapiro said. Obviously, Governor DeSantis was my favorite candidate in the race. I think he would have made the best president of all the candidates who are in the race, Shapiro said in a video of himself posted to X. And obviously, the Republican voting base wants Donald Trump. And you know what? That's the Republican voting base's prerogative. Okay, yeah, so the video, I want to play the video. He's in Poland, Ben Shapiro. And he did not do this on his show. This is him. It looks like he's in his hotel room in Poland. So here's Ben Shapiro.
Well, folks, I'm here in Poland. I was visiting Auschwitz with Elon Musk today, so I didn't have a chance until now to actually comment.
Boy, we're in different circles.
So connected. My gosh.
Excuse me, this is Ben Shapiro. I'm in Poland visiting Auschwitz with Elon Musk.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I know. I just hang out with Kathy,
Sorry.
You're good enough for me, Kathy. I don't need Elon Musk.
Same here.
Oh my goodness.
Well, folks, I'm here in Poland. I was visiting Auschwitz with Elon Musk today, so I didn't have a chance until now to actually comment on Ron DeSantis dropping out of race. Obviously, Governor DeSantis was my favorite candidate in the race. I think he would have made the best president of all the candidates who are in the race. And obviously, the Republican voting base wants Donald Trump. And you know what? That's the Republican voting base's prerogative. I think there will be a future for Ron DeSantis in the movement. I think there will be another time for Governor DeSantis again. Best governor in the country. With that said, this primary race, as I said after Iowa, is over. It remains over. New Hampshire will be won by Donald Trump. It's time for the party to coalesce around the guy who is going to beat Joe Biden, and that guy is Donald Trump.
Okay.
Well, they're all endorsing him because for two reasons: self-preservation, and they know he's going to win, so they're not going to back a loser.
All of a sudden, they're on the Trump train.
They know he's going to win anyway. They see the polls, they see the data. I'm sure he has access to the internal polls. And they know he's going to win anyway, so they want to, and they know that he's the most popular by far. So he's smart to do that. He's not an idiot like these other people, Bill Mitchell and that other Dave Rubin. He's smart to do that. Of course, he did say he was behind DeSantis before, but politics is strange, and when somebody can support one person and then they're not winning, and then they can come out and say, okay, well, I'm going to switch to this, that for whatever his motivation, that's a good thing. But do you think that has any influence over anybody?
Well, I'm glad.
Probably not. But it's still good he did it.
No, it does. He's got he's got a large following. But that's a very reluctant endorsement. Well, hey, the Republican base won him. That's their prerogative. I mean,
that sounds like what DeSantis said.
He's annoyed by it.
That's what DeSantis said. The same thing. Yeah. This is who the people want. So this is who I'm going to back. So it's a very reluctant endorsement.
And he sounds like Ron DeSantis. He sounds ticked off about it.
Well, I guess he can't. No matter how much money you have in this world, you can't always get what you want.
And this thing about influencers. Everybody calls themselves an influencer. I really don't like that term, influencer.
You don't think we influence anybody? Other than each other?
I think it's arrogant to call yourself an influencer. It's this label that gets applied to people that do these kind of things like we do. I don't really care for it. But these influencers that think they're the top influencers, Ben Shapiro, who's he really influencing, right?
That's what I just asked you.
He's going along with – well, no, his endorsement does mean something because he has a lot of listeners and hopefully he'll say positive things about Trump. I don't know. He seems ticked off there, But and I don't know why he had to throw in his endorsement. Well, I'm here in Poland with Elon Musk and we're all that name dropping stuff.
Whose endorsement do you think means more, his or DeSantis?
I don't think DeSantis' endorsement means anything. I think DeSantis has alienated his entire base. He has no base.
No, but you don't think DeSantis endorsing Trump kind of gives the green light to people who are supporting him to support Trump?
What DeSantis is Ben Shapiro's endorsement does mean something because he speaks to millions of people.
Yeah, but he's not going to vote for Trump.
But he's not. No, that's
Ben
exactly
Shapiro.
right.
He's not going to vote for Trump.
He will not vote for Trump. He'll never admit that. I don't believe he will.
No.
And he's really not much of an influencer when he's reluctantly going along with the popular train. Ron DeSantis, though, his endorsement means something in a different kind of way. What Ron DeSantis' endorsement of President Trump did, last night, which was a reluctant endorsement like Shapiro's, it takes the wind out of the sails of these never Trumpers. It's a defeatist. It's a defeatist thing that DeSantis did, and the never Trumpers. It took a lot out of them. They're like, oh, we're defeated. It made them feel defeated, like they're losers now. And you hear the tone in both Ben Shapiro and DeSantis. They're angry. They're very angry. They're reluctant endorsements.
Make no mistake about it.
And DeSantis even said, DeSantis said two things. It was really not a real endorsement. DeSantis said, well, he's better than Biden. And then he said, I signed a pledge agreeing to endorse whoever. So, I'm a man of my word. So even though I hate Donald Trump, was the tone of DeSantis. I'll endorse it because I signed a pledge that I would. And
still can't trust him.
And Ben Shapiro here, I mean, did he sound pissed off? He sounded pissed off to me with Elon Musk.
Well, he always sounds weird. I don't like him.
I don't like Ben Shapiro.
I hate the way
either.
he talks. He sounds like a robot.
I'm not a fan. No, I'm not a fan of Ben Shapiro's. But his endorsement matters because unlike Ron DeSantis, he speaks to millions of people every week through all of his different platforms. Mm-hmm. And if he's saying good things about Trump, that helps. So I'm all for that, right? But it's a complete collapse. I mean, we got Ben Shapiro, DeSantis, Donna Brazile, CNN, MSNBC. We've got everyone.
Trump said something funny the other day, which you have said. He said, if I was president 3 years ago, I'd be out in a year and they'd be done with me.
Yeah.
And I'd be out of politics forever. And you've said that many times.
Well,
and he acknowledged that the other day. He said, if I would have been in the White House, if I would have won, they'd be done with me in a year. And but they kept it going.
It's a funny thing when President Trump said that over the weekend because
you said that.
The radio stations I broadcast on cover Mar-a-Lago, and I brought up on the air last week to Steve Kane and some callers. I said, do you think these never Trumpers ever say to themselves, we should have just left Trump alone. He'd be on his way out. He'd have a year left. He'd be retired.
I'm sure
they have. And President Trump talked about it over the weekend, and it makes me wonder, did he hear me talking about that the other day, President Trump?
You never know.
You never know. You never know. And I do know.
Because I've never heard him say that before.
I do know that he's listened to me on more than one occasion. And the last time that I had Marjorie Taylor Greene. I interviewed Marjorie Taylor Greene a few weeks ago on the radio about her book, and that was a great interview. And I was talking about you when I was talking to Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was promoting her book, and I said, "Oh, Congresswoman," I said, "My wife just ordered a copy of your book for me, autographed by you."
That's right.
And I said, "I'm going to put it on my coffee table right next to my autographed Donald Trump book." And she says, "Oh, thank you, thank you." Right before that interview, Marjorie Taylor Greene's people told me that President Trump was going to be listening. Right before the interview, they sent me a message, and and it was really scary for me.
When I hear him talk, he is really up on everything going on. If you really listen to the things he brings up, they're all things that we have seen in the news that we're researching. He is up on everything. That guy.
That's right. That's right.
He's very with it.
Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And if you'd like to support the program, becoming a Patreon supporter is a great way to do that.
And we have a new top Patreon, too.
Yeah, I'm going to add them. We have a brand new top Patreon supporter that will be added to the shout out thank you list. And that's Constance. Constance, our newest top Patreon supporter. Welcome. And remember, top Patreon supporters and all Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes, and there's a lot of exclusive content that we post to the Patreon page that is only available to Patreon supporters. Kathy and I both post all kinds of information and things that no one else sees other than Patreon supporters. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this episode. Now, our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air shout-out thank you on each and every episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, ActicFox, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, and, of course, our newest top Patreon supporter, Constance. Welcome.
And I want to say you can message us in the Patreon, and also there's like a chat, and somebody, I won't say who, made an interesting comment in the Patreon chat.
Do I want to hear this?
Yeah, it's interesting. And this person said the people that are defending Nikki Haley are probably people that have cheated on their spouses too. And it's a way to make themselves feel less guilty for what they've done. So anybody who brings that up and defends her on the radio, you should ask them, well, have you ever cheated on your spouse? Because that's what people do. They like to rationalize things and to soothe their own guilt that they feel.
Well, I'll tell
by
you,
making it like it's no big deal.
You know what? Here's the thing. Of the two guys that we know of that allegedly had affairs with Nikki Haley, one of them she had sex with in her government office. There are only two elected officials that we know of who had sex in their offices, Bill Clinton and Nikki Haley, if these allegations about Nikki Haley are true. That's big news. And I remember during the Clinton-Lewinsky affair, okay? Oh, my goodness. That was crazy. It was, it was crazy.
That was crazy time.
And I remember when the Star Report came out that had Monica Lewinsky's testimony in it. We just read that on the air. It was crazy. But there were people calling in on the show. Been doing this for a long time, guys. I've been on the air a long time. So, and I was on the air for many years when this happened. But when the Lewinsky story was going on, we started getting calls from people that shocked me that were, this is no big deal, no big deal. And I was a little younger at the time because this was, 1998. I was like 27. And
there were probably people that cheated on their spouses.
There was one guy who called in who is very well-known person who called in with a fake name because they were a famous person and they didn't want people to know who they were. And they called in defending Bill Clinton. Oh, no big deal. And I remember and Steve and I knew who it was, even though they used a fake name. Very well-known person. And I said to Steve, I don't understand why this guy is doing it. I know him. He's a good guy. Why is he doing this? And he says, well, because he's cheated on his wife.
Exactly.
And I said, so what you have going on with Nikki Haley is right on the money, what you just said, Kathy. A lot of these people that are
one of the
Nikki Haley
Patreons said that in the chat.
Yeah, well, we have very smart Patreon. That is very, very true. And when people defend extramarital affairs like this, it's almost like they come out of the closet. Yeah. And I know some people will say, well, President Trump has been married 3 times. He did have an affair with Marla Maples on his first wife.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago, and he learned his lesson. He never married an American girl again after that, but his one American non-immigrant girl. But he was just a celebrity then, a celebrity businessman. It was a whole nother thing than what's going on today. He wasn't a public person like Nikki Haley was. It's a whole nother situation.
Did she?
And he admits to that, by the way.
Did she get pregnant and then he left his wife? Or I can't remember.
Maybe.
Because she did get pregnant with Tiffany.
And then she cheated on him and he dumped her.
I wonder if she got pregnant.
Maybe.
I'm not excusing him for cheating on Ivana, but I wonder if she got pregnant and told him and that's why he divorced Ivana.
Well, maybe. I was never a fan of Marla Maples. And I remember when I've always been a fan of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they just didn't seem to fit.
And when he was married to Marla Maples, I never thought she was like at his level.
If they stayed together, do you think he would have won the presidency? Because she's pretty dumb.
I do remember.
Do you think people would want her as the first lady?
She was hosting like the Miss Universe pageant or something, and she was so awful.
She was trying to be an actress. I know that. Yeah, she sucks.
And I just remember, and maybe you guys remember, I'm like, Donald Trump, she's just not.
No. That's why I'm wondering if he married her because she got pregnant.
Who knows? Maybe. And if
she had never gotten pregnant, maybe he would have ended it and stayed with Ivana.
Yeah, but he admits to that mistake, right? And and he wasn't in public office. It's a whole nother deal. And Nikki Haley doesn't admit to these things. She says they're not true and everything else. And a lobbyist, when an elected official is having sex with lobbyists, you're in a whole nother area.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Well, listen, we're out of time for today. We'll be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We will Talk to you next time.